Hey guys, welcome to What the F. So I am so excited for you guys to hear this conversation that I just had with Mia Randell. She is an epilepsy advocate, being a board member for the Cameron Boyce Foundation. She also runs events, marketing, and comms for an investment firm here in Chicago. And she has seizures every day and every night. Now, I don't know about you, but if that were me, I would probably permanently move to my couch. But Mia is out here and she's doing it, and she shares how she does it and what her mentality is to get through this. I can't wait for you guys to hear everything she has to say. She is such a light in this world, and we're so lucky to have her. But before we dive in, I want to give huge shout outs to the people who believe in this podcast and are making it happen. Thank you so much to SK Life Science, Neuralis, and community partners Epilepsy Foundation of America, the Danny Did Foundation, and Epilepsy Alliance America. All right, here we go. Okay, so Mia, thank you so much for being here. I am so stoked for this conversation, just because I've had the pleasure, luckiness, I can't find words because my word retrieval is terrible right now, of hanging out with you before. And I'm just so excited for everyone in the epilepsy community and beyond to just see what an amazing, wonderful, dope human you are.
Well, I'm so honored for you to have me. I mean, I love your podcast. I feel like
Thanks.
all of my friends in the community watch it. So it's crazy to be on it. So thank you.
Of course. Well, and I just, we'll get into this later, but as someone who has seizures literally every day and every night, you're kind of the top expert in epilepsy in a very unfortunate way. I really wish that was not the case. But there's just so much that you deal with on the daily that a lot of us deal with maybe less frequently, or maybe also on the daily, but just don't talk about it. And I know one of the times we talked, you had mentioned that you had experienced significant memory loss, particularly around, I think it was around the time you were diagnosed, right? In the years following?
Yeah, the years before. So it was when I was in high school, those 5 years.
Okay.
13 to 18.
Okay. So there's no, is that you're oh, I kind of vaguely remember this part? Or is it nah, that was just a deleted from your brain?
I probably have 15 memories or less of high school.
Wow.
of those 5 years. And so the long-term memory loss is pretty significant of that time. It never came back. I also was experiencing short-term memory loss at that time, which now, of course, the long-term memory loss is harder for me because I can't get those memories back. I missed out on so many things, family vacations, meeting my best friend. I can't remember all these things. But at the time, that short-term memory loss is what I struggled with more because it made school so hard. Test taking, I would spend all night studying for tests, and then I couldn't take them. And there was no way to, teachers can't understand that. There's no way to explain that. And I went from being, a top student in honors classes, AP classes, and once I started experiencing that short-term memory loss, every class dropped a letter grade or two because it's you can no longer take tests. So you go to class, you can't remember what your teacher taught you. And so that was really difficult, not to just, see yourself not performing how you've performed your whole life, but also to cope with now my future will probably be different. And, how do I explain this to people? Because we didn't really understand what was happening at the time. I wasn't even diagnosed yet.
That's right, because you were undiagnosed.
I was
for
undiagnosed
a long
during
time,
it as well.
right?
Yeah.
When did that finally?
So I was,
what did you go through? Sorry, I know we've talked about this, but I have forgotten just because.
It's okay.
And I love talking to other people with epilepsy because they don't take it personally. They're I know why you forgot.
Yeah, we all get it.
Yeah,
we're literally talking about memory loss. I get it.
I know. Yeah, it's very meta right now. Yeah.
I started having seizures at 9, and those were the ones I was having during the day. And then I started having my seizures in my sleep at 13. And that's really when the memory loss started because I was not getting into REM sleep. Every time I would start to dip into REM, I would have a seizure. And so you're going through puberty and you're not getting REM sleep. Your brain, it can't develop, it can't function. And so that's why I was experiencing that memory loss. But then I was diagnosed at 19. So I went those 10 years without being diagnosed.
Oh my God.
And so that was really difficult to try to explain to teachers, to my gymnastics coaches, I was applying to colleges and they're why do you have this dip in your grade? Did you just stop caring? Did you stop trying? and you're trying to explain like, no, I actually was trying harder than I was before. I was probably trying harder than any other kid in my school.
Yeah.
And my grades just didn't reflect it. And yeah.
So I'm just like, and especially when you don't know what's going on, you can't point to something to a teacher and be like, it's my epilepsy. It's like, it's something that we don't know that I can't explain. And it's not even like medication side effects or anything like that. This is just the actual seizures disrupting the REM sleep and then disrupting kind of fucking up your whole brain.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like even after I was diagnosed, I mean, there were a few things. So after I was diagnosed, still memory loss, I don't think is the most common symptom. There's a lot of, in general, like the general population doesn't realize there are other symptoms besides seizures. So I think that's great. There's advocacy going on for like, no, it affects our mental health. It affects our focus, which also was hard in high school to lose your focus, but it affects our mental health. It affects our focus.
I lost my focus in high school and I didn't have your excuse. So
like you're fatigued, like your medication side effects, like there's so many side effects to epilepsy besides seizures, and people don't understand that unless they're epileptics. But at least you have, that like, oh, I have epilepsy. Like this is what, but you have to like walk them step through step. Like it's not just my seizures that are going to cause things, but the memory loss is I've only met 1 to 2 other people who have experienced it. And I know there are more people out there because a lot of people have seizures in their sleep and, go through a lot because it is disrupting your brain.
So when I hear this as someone who has not experienced like a significant block of memory loss, like like there's no 5-year gap. My initial reaction is to be like, okay, well, can I show you pictures of something? Will that jog it?
Right.
Or is there a way to, I don't know, somehow resurface them?
Right. And that was like my family's reaction as well. They're like, oh, we went on these vacations. Let's show you videos. Let's walk in detail, this thing you did. Like, remember you said this, or you did this funny thing. And we were right here and look at the photo, look at the video. And it does nothing for like absolutely nothing. I can't remember anything.
Okay.
And it makes it harder for me because I'm like, okay, you're sharing these things that I did that sound amazing and look amazing. And it's as if I didn't do them. It's as if I didn't travel to these places, have these fun memories with you guys. And you all remember having fun together. You all remember seeing these beautiful things, doing these fun things. And I don't. It's as if it didn't happen. And so I've expressed to them like, hey, can you actually not talk about these things in front of me? It's really hard for me to hear that you did these things because it's as if I wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's as if I didn't experience that with you. And I think that's been hard for them to understand. Like they still try to jog it, but I'm like, you won't. It won't. And I think they want to because they can't understand memory loss, and so many people can't.
Yeah.
They want to try to include me in it and be like, no, you did this, we did this. I'm like, it's not including me. It's making me feel worse.
Right.
It's actually excluding me.
Yeah. And like, again, this is kind of a fucked up way to relate to it. But the only thing I can think of is like prior to epilepsy, I like to drink a lot and would black out often. Especially when I was your age. You're like a much more responsible person than I ever was at your age. But like, and then like the next day though, that's a terrible thing to have someone show you a picture or, be like, you did this and it was hilarious. And it's just like, there's really it's like kind of like a gut wrenching feeling. Yeah. Again, it's not the same, but it's the only way I can figure out like maybe other people out there can relate to it too. But that it's just like, when you phrase it like that, it's just kind of like, yeah, like this happens to people for other reasons. Yeah. And you don't feel good by seeing a picture of yourself that you don't remember.
And you feel a little bit of FOMO because it's like they're all talking about this cool thing. And, it's like when your friends talk about, if they went to a party and you weren't there, you're like, okay, well, I feel FOMO. That's what it feels like when people talk about those things. It's like, well, to me, I wasn't there because I don't remember it at all. Yeah. And so my best friend, she's really good at that because she remembers all these memories of us, like of us meeting, all these like great things we did together. And she's really good to, not talk about them. She just talks about since I started remembering, or she'll talk about them like in a way that's more like who we were back then. Like, oh my God, we were so stupid. We are, we made the stupidest jokes, or we were why did we have 15 crushes in like 1 month?
So like non-specific.
Yeah, non-specific
Yeah,
things where it's like,
totally.
oh gosh, I wish I remembered us doing that. More just like,
Yeah.
oh my God, we were such stupid teenagers. Like, why did we have so many crushes? Like things that I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Because like, opposed to just making me feel like I'm left out of an experience.
Totally.
So I think that way it's like people who are around you don't have to feel like, oh, like caged by being like, okay, well now I can't talk about all this stuff with this person I shared it with. But it's like, talk about how you were as people back then, opposed to specific things that they can't relate to anymore.
Yeah, totally. I love that.
Because I can remember who I was as a person as a teenager. I was like, made bad decisions. I was stupid.
That's
I was
what
boy
teenagers
crazy.
are supposed to do.
Yeah, like I
Yes.
can remember I was boy crazy and stupid and all that kind of stuff. So I can talk about it with people. I just can't remember the memories, like
Yeah.
the experiences of it.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. And okay, so then my next question is like, when did that barometer of being like your best friend knows what she can and can't really address? So
Yeah.
where's that line for you? Like you get diagnosed and still to this day you're having seizures every day, but like when did the memories
So
start?
it's actually kind of a crazy story. So when I started taking a certain medication and it stopped my nighttime seizures when I was like 18. And so I stopped having the nighttime seizures in my memory. Like I was having short-term memory again, and my focus was getting better. And so I took a gap year between high school and college because we were trying to figure it out. It wasn't safe for me to go to college. Like I wasn't going to perform well. Being in a dorm was not going to be great. But I stopped having the nighttime seizures. The daytime ones, those were still a mess, but they were much more manageable. The nighttime ones were really the dangerous ones for me and the ones really messing up my life. So we figured it out. And the medication, especially because I wasn't diagnosed before, it was like, we couldn't put me on medication. No one was like willing to risk to put me on something. And so because I was, got diagnosed then with, it's like, oh, you have epilepsy. You have all these medications to try. So I tried this medication. It was fantastic. I stopped having these nighttime seizures. My focus was coming back. There were other reasons school was kind of hard to perform because all of a sudden I, developed signs of ADHD. I didn't have that before. I had mental health issues. I didn't have that before. But the memory was like that big thing. I got COVID in college and it made my medication stop working. And we've never been able to get it to work again. And I've tried every other one that women can try. And I'm trying kind of the last one right now. Like none of them worked. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, luckily I haven't noticed it too much impact my memory, like how it did then. I think that's probably because I was going through puberty and so many other, like, you need your sleep so much when you're a teenager.
Sure.
I still did notice things. I was experiencing extreme fatigue because I still don't get sleep. So I have extreme fatigue now. I was doing better with that when I was sleeping. But my focus is a little worse now. But I do have my memory back. So that's great.
You're like, I'll take one win.
And the thing is, because of that, and because I think I'm older and really the diagnosis, I've learned how to advocate for myself and what I need. So in high school, I didn't know what I needed. Like, I didn't know I could tell my teachers, or I don't even know if at the time they would have been able to help me or understand that I needed certain accommodations. I didn't even know I could get accommodations. But then in college, I could speak up to my teachers and be like, hey, like I, worked really hard on this paper. Like it's finished for you, but I don't think it's my best product because the last 4 nights I haven't been sleeping and I've not been having the best focus. I'm not proud of it. Could I get one more day? It's because of my epilepsy. It's because of this. And I'd be like, of course you have one. I'm like, if you don't accept that, that's okay. I have it finished, but I'm not proud of it because of my epilepsy. And I got the official accommodation and that the school gives.
Awesome.
And I knew how to speak up and I knew how to say like, oh, if I have a seizure in class, this is what happens. If look like I'm, tired in class and not paying attention, it's not that I don't care about your class. It's not that I'm not paying attention. I'm just very tired from my seizures. Like, this is what's happening. Like, I could present it to teachers. And I think the biggest thing about learning how to advocate for yourself is in spaces like work at the doctor's office and family and friends, now I know how to tell my family, don't speak about it like this to me. Or at the doctor's office, I really learned as a kid, the doctors tell you what they think. And my parents were there. My parents told them what they thought. And I listened and I learned and I did a lot of research on my own because I was undiagnosed. So I had to do so much research. But then I got older and I was like, I want to tell them what I think and what I think is best for me. And I've done all this research. I have all this knowledge in my head. Let me use it and let me say like, hey, I think this is what's best for my epilepsy. Or, the doctors would say, I think we should do this test for you because you have such a severe case. And my parents would be like, we don't like that risk. And I'd be like, hey, actually, my epilepsy is really impacting the quality of my life right now. I think the risk of this test is actually smaller than the risk of SUDEP, which I'm at for right now, incredibly high. I was at the highest risk for SUDEP. I was like, the risk of what it's doing to my life, the quality of my life, how I'm living. Personally, like I would like to do the test. I would like to take that risk. So it's like if my doctor and my parents had just been talking, I probably wouldn't have done the test or they would have come up with something else. And it's like, I was like, but I want to do it. And it was like learning how to stand up for yourself at the doctor. And that can be hard. It can be intimidating because, a doctor's office is intimidating. Neurologists, they're so smart or they like to talk a lot. They really like to spew things at you. And you're like, okay.
I know. And it's like, sometimes it's like, can you just break that down for me as a non-medical person,
Yeah.
and also repeat everything
You have to
just
repeat. Yeah.
said.
I always am taking notes. I'm always taking notes.
I audio record my appointments because
you won't remember.
No. And I have a notebook too, but even my notebook misses things. And now, for a long time I was going alone. But my husband comes with me now and just to have like another set of ears in the room and he can also tell like what he's observed and whatever, but which is helpful. I'm just like resentful about it. For no real reason. I should probably talk to my therapist about that. Anyway, but like we'll walk out of the appointment and we have heard different things. And then I'll play back the recording and we'll see who's right. Yeah. So like all that is to say, I think that's like really important. Just like what you're saying about going in and saying, this is what I want. This is what I need.
Because it's your life.
Exactly. It is your life. And I don't know about you, but once I started doing that, like I was, even though I love my epileptologist, always been obsessed. I was surprised at how much she appreciated that.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I was like, oh, she wants to hear what I have to say. Like, not that I ever thought she didn't, but I put, doctors on these pedestals and I don't know. I think a lot of us do. We're like, you are holy and everything you say is accurate, like
you're so smart and you must know.
Yeah, totally. But like, then we forget like we're the experts of our bodies.
Yeah. They don't know.
Yeah. And that's okay. And they're like, so I think that's just so great for people to hear because it's like, it is hard and it is scary sometimes to be like, I have a little idea, I promise I didn't find it on ChatGPT, and then like just to hear, and sometimes my doctor will knock it down and be like, here's why that won't work.
Yeah.
Or we can absolutely try and pursue that.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge for people.
It's important to have a good relationship with your epileptologist. And of course that takes time. You have to build it. So don't wait until you build a relationship. But I find it helps, find one you trust. It takes time. But I find it helps to come in with questions, come prepared. Because you're going to get there and you're going to forget. Or they're going to start talking and you guys will go off on a train and you'll forget what you want to come in.
Yep.
So I do my research before. I'm thinking like, okay, these are the symptoms I'm having right now. These are what, right now we're struggling to fix this. Or right now we're struggling to figure out what type of seizures I'm having. So let me do some research. Let me, and yes, like Dr. Google, but that's how you figure out, your questions or what you want to ask or treatment you think could be interesting. And you go in with your questions and you present them to your doctor, and you're right. They'll say why they have it brought to you, or sometimes like my doctor's like, oh, yeah, I haven't thought about that, or oh, I was going to bring that up to you today. Like, let's go more into it. And then like having that conversation opposed to someone just like spitting at you, and then you're like, well, they actually didn't realize that like all of that's been changing. They only know me from my last appointment. You know you from in between your appointments.
Totally.
And so it's like it's just that conversation is important, and if you're younger and you have your parents coming with you, or not even when I was younger, because I can't drive. So my parents had to drive me for appointments for a long time, even as an adult, which I was like, why are my parents in here? I'm an adult. But it's like, then on the car ride in, I spoke to my parents, like, these are the questions I'm going to ask. This is what I learned about sense. and this is why I think I want to present it. And then sometimes my parents would be like, well, we're not totally comfortable with this, or, oh yeah, we think that's a good idea. And we actually did some research and thought, even take this step to this step.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, it can be a little seminar, it doesn't have to just be one person speaking, like your doctor speaking to you.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important.
There's so many things you said that I love. Like, one, I do that too, where I write down everything, like I make an agenda of things I want to talk about and questions I have, right?
Yeah.
And I make sure that it's written down, not in my phone, because I tried it in my phone and I felt weird. Like, I felt weird looking at my phone, I'm not on Instagram, I swear. So like for me, I need to be pen and paper. And I totally agree with you doing that ahead of time, because otherwise I would just forget. Obviously, that's like the theme of this whole episode is forgetting everything. So, but then also I like how you took that like almost role of just like ambassador for yourself, being like, okay, folks, we're going in. Here's what I'm going to talk about, letting everyone in on what the conversation is. And, you're in charge. You're laying the ground rules, which I think is really important. Like, I do remember when my dad would come with me to some appointments, I was like the one rule I had was like, you cannot make any jokes. Like, no
dad jokes.
No dad jokes. Not to the intake person, not to the nurse, not to a doctor. You are not allowed, and you're only allowed to speak if I say you're allowed to speak. Like, I became like dictatorship, and then like he would, and it, like, but like people do, I think they respect boundaries, but they also respect direction.
Yeah. And
if you're giving someone direction of how to help you in that appointment, whether it's your doctor or the person who's coming along for support, I think that's huge. And like, it can feel overbearing, or it can feel like uncomfortable, but everyone ends up a little bit happier.
Well, and once you get comfortable with that in like your epileptologist office or your neurologist office, you'll be able to take that to your other doctor's offices, because they need to know as well. Because, I was getting like oral surgery done, and they needed to know a lot about what was going on, actually, because they give you certain drugs, anesthesia. They needed to make sure it matched with mine. We need to have a seizure plan. If I had a seizure during it, what we would do. And they're oral surgeons. They don't know anything about epilepsy. So I had to be the one to even bring it up. I had to talk about my medications in depth. I had to discuss with them what a seizure plan would be. Maybe we should try different medications from them that I actually don't want to go under. I only want local anesthesia. Like, I had to like fully take charge of that, because they don't know anything. Whereas your epileptologist does know stuff. Or at like the gynecologist, there are lots of epilepsy medications, interact with things there. Like, or you're a woman, so you're experiencing side effects that way. Like your hormones, like there's so many things that cross over, but your gynecologist is not thinking about that. And they might not even know you have epilepsy. So like, you have to advocate for yourself in other medical spaces where they're not going to be as educated as you are. And so once you get comfortable doing it in a space where everyone's educated on it, then you can bring it to your other spaces. And it's easy, and it becomes easy. Like, now it's like second nature to me to just be like, oh yeah, and I have epilepsy, and this is how it relates to whatever doctor I'm talking to and whatever we're talking about. And they're like, oh, okay. And they're like, they went to med school, so they do have a basic understanding, and they're not going to like give you a weird look or like protrude any like stigma onto you because they're medical professionals. So they're never going to make you feel bad about it.
Well, let's not say never.
Not never. But for the most part, that's true.
If you've chosen this doctor and chosen to stick with this doctor, hopefully they treat you with respect.
I have had a doctor who looked at me like she was like, you have seizures? And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, calm down.
You're fired. But that is something, just like little PSA for everyone. Like, when you are at those doctor's appointments, like, it's so important that if they prescribe a new medication, to run it by your neurologist and tell that doctor that. Be like, if we're switching, even if it's birth control, especially if it's birth control, make sure you run it by your epileptologist, neurologist, whoever is managing your epilepsy first, because of the drug interactions that can happen. And it's just like, I mean, it got to the point where like, I think my neurologist was like, my dermatologist recommended like a topical cream. And I'm like, Dr. Neuro, I just want to make sure that this is okay. She's like, yes, that is okay. Because I just like, why not be overcautious about all the things? Because we like the medication side effects are already brutal as enough. You don't need to be putting yourself in more danger than, you possibly could be.
Or it's like one of my medications was giving me acne. I never had acne before. I was at the
Fun.
dermatologist. I know.
Like, really?
And I was like, I want to have this my whole life now. And I was at the
Like-
dermatologist and I was like, I'm having this terrible acne, so she's going to put me on Accutane. And she was going to put me on the Accutane that she puts all young kids on. It's just like for hormonal that goes away. And I'm like, actually, can you put me on the other one? Because this isn't hormonal acne. And it's not like, I don't think it should be treated as such because I know it's not hormonal. I've never had hormonal. And so like speaking up for myself, she put me on the other one. And like, I haven't had acne since. And if I went on, and like Accutane kind of sucks. So if I went on the other one, I might've gone on it for nothing if I hadn't spoken up.
Totally.
And so it's like, and it was really chill because then she was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We'll put you on the other one. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
So you just have to speak up.
Yeah, totally. It's just, you gotta let out. It's like you just have to like constant alert. Like, I have epilepsy.
Yeah.
How are we going to handle this situation?
Yeah. I think that's incredibly important. Because I know a lot of people want to hide that they have epilepsy at work, which I totally get that. I understand.
Yeah.
I don't say it during my interviews. I don't
Never say it
don't
during an
click,
interview.
never.
Yeah.
I waited until I was comfortable at work and I talked to especially right now, I'm trying a new medication. So I'm experiencing crazy side of like bad brain fog, terrible fatigue like I've never had, like just things, really bad focus. So I
That's
went to
the thing too, that, sorry to interrupt you, but like that the side effects of the medications can
is
be
a whole
just as
other beast.
brutal
Yeah.
as like a post-seizure state.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it is a whole other beast. Like, I also can't believe you're here today. Like, when you're titrating up on a medication, it's pretty amazing. Like, truly.
But it's like I went to my manager and I was like, hey, this is what I'm going through. And because I still struggle a little bit with my memory, it's not perfect. I'm like, hey, if you ask me for dates on the spot, I won't be able to give it to you. But I have my calendar is, I keep it super up to date. I take really great notes. So I do have it. And like I have systems in place so I can still do my job. What you hired me to do, I can still do it, but maybe not how someone else does it. So if you ask me for something and I can't like do it like that, it doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. It doesn't mean I'm not working harder, doing my due diligence. I just have different systems. Or like right now I'm having a hard time with my focus. So instead of working like, we have an area with like a bunch of desks, I work in a focus room. And I'm like, I'm not being like antisocial, or I'm not like in the focus room scrolling on my phone. I just have a harder time focusing right now. And like telling my boss, like advocating the accommodations I need and explaining to her. And you present it in a way of like, I can still do my job. I am still doing my job. I just am having different things in place to do it. This is what I do to still do my job. Or I like my fatigue is so bad right now. Sometimes like in the morning I have more energy. So I'm like, hey, I might actually be working 8 to 4 instead of 9 to 5. And luckily my manager is so cool. She's like, that's totally fine. If you need to work 7 to 3, she's like, as long as you get all your work done and you don't miss any meetings, I totally get it. I want you to be like at your best ability to do your work. And if that's for you, like as long as you can get your work done. And so like, you don't know unless you ask. I never would have known that was fine. And I was struggling through to get to 5 p.m. and like a zombie. But I brought it up to her and she's like, that's totally fine. If your energy is in the morning, like, as long as you don't miss any meetings, you're fine. And so it's like, you just have to.
It's so amazing.
Present it in a way.
Like, I'm like, because I'm here like, oh my gosh, that's just amazing. And I'm like, but that's legal. That's the law.
It's like the bare minimum. We're like praising
so amazing.
The bar and the floor.
Yes.
And if you have seizures during the day, your coworkers should know your seizure safety plan.
Yeah.
So like for your safety as well. I know it's so scary to like tell people at work, but if you work with certain people frequently in the office, like they should know what they need to do. Or I have like a medical ID bracelet that I wear to work. So like if my seizures during the day are usually pretty chill, like painful, but they're like, I don't need medical attention.
Chill.
And so it's like, but in case something happens and I do, my manager and like my like advisor kind of, they know what to do. And like,
That's awesome.
And if so, like when I needed that CT scan, I was like, hey, like I need this, like, oh my God, that's totally fine. Like we totally get that. And like, they're like, we have to take doctor's appointments during the day too. Doctors only take you during the day. And they're like, it's fine. So you just like, you present like, I can still do my job just differently than you. And this is how, and these are what I might need. And so it's all about phrasing and also, get what you need. Don't struggle for the sake of struggling,
Yeah, no, totally. And I think like also the way you present it is like, okay, I do things differently. here's the system though.
Yeah.
And I think establishing that system for yourself first is like the biggest step, because sometimes like it's like a trial and error thing, figuring, especially if you're starting at a new job, just figuring out, but kind of having an idea of what those systems are is huge. And I know everyone has a different way of doing things, and it's just kind of like what works for you.
All of our epilepsy is different.
Yeah. And like it changed, like for me, it's changed like over the years. Like what my systems look like, like what worked in one job didn't work in another. And so it's just sort of like trying to like always, and then I'd feel like a failure. I'm like, oh my God, well, maybe you change things.
Yeah.
Develop, evolve as a human in every way possible, and it'll work out.
Or you might see a job and be like, you know what? I know that's just not for me. I know that wouldn't work with how I function. Or you need a car. I'm like, well, I can't drive. So it's like, just know like what jobs you think would work for you. And like, I get in this job market, that's hard. But most jobs you can probably find a way to make work for you, or, at a company that's known to be a good company. Because you want to be surrounded by people who, because that's like we were saying, like the bar is on the floor, but you do want to be surrounded by people who can support you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's not always easy to find.
No.
And sometimes you're just like, I'm trying, but I'm just at this job until I can find.
And that's okay too, to struggle while you make the money and then put yourself in a better situation.
Totally.
I've been there. I get it. I get it. There's no shame in that.
No. So I feel like it's all a part of the process. So there's something that you mentioned earlier that I'd love to talk about if you're comfortable with, and that's like your high risk for SUDEP. Because I feel like this is something that we as a society, as a community, don't talk about a lot. For anyone out there, SUDEP is sudden unexplained death in epilepsy patients, where, and I'm, this is my layperson definition, so bear with me, and please feel free to add on. But where you can die suddenly, usually in your sleep, from most likely a seizure, but doctors still aren't sure as to why or what's going on. And so like for me, it's kind of like every night, like I kind of had to come to peace with like every night I go to bed knowing I might not wake up. Like but I also am not as high risk as you. I haven't had, knock on wood here, it's been like a few years since I've had a nighttime seizure. So I'm just like, and I'm just wondering like what your coping skills are for managing that like on the daily.
So I didn't even know about SUDEP until Cameron Boyce passed away. And so I'm on the board of that foundation now because he was literally 1 month older than me. And I didn't so I was like, grew up watching him. And I was like, it really hit me. And that foundation is just so important to me, but I didn't even know it existed. And I was like, no one has brought this up to me. And I'm in the highest risk group because if you have frequent seizures, like tonic-clonic, large seizures in your sleep, and you're, what's the age? It's like 18 to 26 or 15 to 20. So I'm starting to age out. If you're a young adult. And then you're in the highest risk. And I was like checking all of those. And not just did I have frequent seizures, I had incredibly frequent seizures. I was having, 10, 15 a night, and they were all violent. And so it's like, I think when they mean frequent, it means, once every few months.
Right. That's
that's what they think of frequent.
Yeah.
And so luckily I think it was maybe a blessing that I didn't know about it when I was younger, because my anxiety, like everything else I was dealing with, I think it would have just been too much. But when I got older, it's the same kind of thing of, I could every night pass away, but also, I could cross the street and get hit by a car. Like anyone can pass away at any time. Like there's so many people who have just freak deaths. And like, I'm at higher risk than death than my friend sitting next to me who doesn't have, a medical issue. But that doesn't mean I will die first. And it also just means that I'm the little bit of like, live like you're dying, don't be reckless. But, that's why I was like, when I wanted to do more of these tests, because I was like, that risk. And sometimes the risk, like I had a spinal tap and I got a spinal fluid leak and it sucked. Like that was terrible.
Poor thing.
But it was like,
oh my gosh.
But to me, and the risk was low for that. And of course I was like in the like 0.1% that got it.
Because you're a medical
Yeah.
professor. You're just
I had the
like,
best luck.
yeah, no one medical's better than you,
But
honey.
like to me, I was like, yeah, but that small risk is worth it because I'm in a big risk every single night. And it also has pushed me to be, a big advocate, to find a community, to speak up. I'm like, I have been, if anyone is going through something in epilepsy, I've probably been through it. If they're trying a medication, I've probably tried it. If they're experiencing some type of seizure, I've probably done the research on it because so much of my epilepsy is, they don't have answers for almost any of it. So I've done so much research to find answers. So I'm like, I can use my voice while I still have it because who knows? I'm like, so let me speak up and help other people with it. And I just find like driving on the highway is dangerous. Everything's dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm like, so there's no point dwelling. I can't lower my risk. I'm trying new medications. That's a good way to lower my risk. I'm trying to stop my seizures. That's the only way I can lower it. So that's what I'm doing. But I'm doing the best I can. So there's no point adding to my anxiety, adding to my stress. Adding to my stress will only make it worse. I'm like, just live. Like,
Yeah, no,
I don't know. Why
love
stress
that.
about it? Why like lose your life and your sleep stressing about that you could pass away because you can't do anything about it?
Yeah. No, I love that mentality because especially when you use the analogy of like, I could also get hit by a bus, like,
Yeah.
like odds of suit up are still low, right? Like for like generally, right?
Yeah.
And then there's obviously like we talked about like higher risk and things
Yeah.
like that. But the odds are still like probably I'm gonna look into it, but maybe around like, being in a car accident and dying or something like that.
Yeah.
But I love that concept of like there's nothing I'm doing everything I can. So all I'm gonna do is just keep living.
Yeah. I mean, we already have so much to think about and stress about with epilepsy. Why add to it? That doesn't mean go
Yeah.
be reckless. That doesn't mean,
Totally.
take your medication on time.
Yes.
If you have triggers, limit your triggers. But, don't add to your plate.
Yeah.
Because why would you we already go through so much.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Totally. And then we've talked about this before too, and this just amazes me. And of course I've probably forgotten again the answer totally, but like I know after my nighttime seizures and I am like dead. Like it feels like I ran a marathon and pushed a truck like all at the same time and like I can't get out of bed. Like how how are you here? Like how are you physically in this chair after having a nighttime? I assume I didn't ask you, but like if you had a nighttime seizure last night, like
Yeah.
how you're like, yeah, I did. You're like, have you not been listening? Like
I think it's just like I've been having them for like 13 years. I mean, there was that little space where I was on that medication that was helping, but that was 2 years. So I guess I've been having them for 11 years. And it's just like you have to. I couldn't miss high school. You had to go to school. And I had gymnastics practice after school. And like those were things, and I wanted to do gymnastics. I didn't want to stop doing something I loved. It's like, so I had to do it. And when you're young, I feel like you're very resilient. Now, I don't know if I would do gymnastics. I think I would be like, I'm too tired. But back then it was like, I had to go to high school. You can't not go to school. And my parents were going to be like, okay, you can be homeschooled. Like, what? So it's like, I had to go. And so it's just like, I had to power through. And high school is probably like the most tiring time of your life. You're in school for so long.
I know.
You're doing such hard classes. You'll be so like turned on. And then you have sports practice. And then you have like, there's just so much going on. And so it almost feels easier than it was then.
Totally.
and
That's a great point. High school is such a rigorous schedule.
Yeah.
And it's such an antiquated system and schedule.
Yeah.
Where you like start your day at 7:45.
Yeah. Like earlier. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like
And I just think, the fatigue is terrible. It's so bad, but it's like I think you become used to the fatigue. I think people who work, like nurses, like they have terrible hours. They do so much and they have that emotional strain. And it doesn't mean that it necessarily is easier, but it becomes their new normal. And that's what I kind of feel like. It's the things, because my seizures are so violent, I have really bad like joint pain from it. So, I do a lot of walking, and my friend and I, we like to walk a bunch. And sometimes in the walks, I'm like, oh my God, my hips, my knees, and like my neck. And I had to go get a CT scan because I thought I hit my head 3 times really hard in 1 week. So I had to say to my boss, hey, I'm going to miss an hour after lunch at work. I have like a critical CT scan. And I was like, it's almost more like the fatigue. It's like it's become a new normal. Some of the other, I mean, the other things like joint pain is kind of a new normal too, but it's like people don't realize there's so many other things to it. So other people are like, oh yeah, I have joint pain from when I played soccer. And I'm like, okay, well,
Not the same.
I have joint pain from gymnastics too, guys. But like,
Yeah,
this is like a different, like
totally.
every night, it's like insane what I'm doing to my body.
Yeah.
Like you don't understand the positions I wake up and contorted in. But it's just like I think you kind of get used to it. It's like, I don't want to stop living my life because of it. I don't want to lower my quality of life. So it's like, I still gotta, I still want to go on walks on the lakeshore path with my friend. I still want to, I don't know, go to the gym. I don't want to be a couch potato because I feel worse when I do that because then I'm like, I just ruined my whole day. Even though physically it felt better for my body because I was so tired. Like if I could lay on the couch all day, I would. I'm so tired. But I'm like, I'm having more fun today doing this than what my body would rather be doing, laying on the couch. Because like mentally and emotionally, I have to live my life. I don't want to. All my friends are living their life. All my family's living their life. And I don't want epilepsy to not let me live my life. And so you just got to keep going.
You are so amazing. Your determination is like so inspiring. And now I feel like a real asshole for not going to the gym for the last month. But I'm going to start because of you, Mia. It's been so cold. I'm like,
It's hard. No, but going to the gym is hard.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm not bedridden in a hospital bed. So, like, as long as I can walk and move, then I will do it. So that's not to say I do it every day. There are days I lay on the couch all day. I'm not like a superhuman superhero. I will have days that don't get out of bed, that I'm a couch potato. But
which I think is also important. Like I know we kind of put that away, or like couch potato, being lazy, but also like sometimes our bodies literally just need to rest, and not do.
Yeah.
And I know like for years I would have one day a week where I'd call it a do nothing day. And it would be either Saturday or Sunday, but like I would be like, I would literally just do absolutely nothing.
I call it my rotting day.
Rotting.
Rotting. But it's like people are so quick to label that as lazy. It's like, it's not lazy. Our bodies just need the rest.
Yeah.
And luckily, like my roommate, who's my best friend from high school, she understands, and she's like, yes, let's rot, let's watch TV. But she gets it, because if people don't understand, they're like so quick to be like, you laid on the couch, you didn't do anything productive. It's like, no, I physically can't. Like the other days of the week, I am pushing myself to my limit. I am not being lazy. And so like you have to give yourself grace, because it's easy to fall in the trap of, oh my God, I didn't do anything today. I wasted my whole day.
Right.
But it's like, your body, like our bodies are doing crazy things.
Yeah.
Like give yourself the time to rest and reboot.
Give your body and your brain that time to just chill. Like that does restore us.
Yeah.
You're
not lazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Or at least I'm telling myself that.
Yeah.
I'm not lazy.
Yeah. No, girl, you are not. You are 100% not lazy. Well, this has been amazing. You are amazing. And I have 3 questions for you that have nothing to do with what we've been talking about. They're not scary.
Okay.
So, I know every time I say this, people are like, what the hell are you going to ask me? First question is, what's your favorite color?
Yellow. Like sunshine yellow.
That does not surprise me in the slightest. If I had to put money on your favorite color, I would have been like 95% of my money goes on yellow, 5% just in case. But you are like all sunshine, honey. So,
oh my God, you're so sweet.
no, it's true. Number 2, a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
If you could tell your newly diagnosed self one thing, what would it be?
I think I do my newly seizured self, because my newly diagnosed self was 10 years into it, and I think I knew what I wanted then. Yeah. I immediately knew that I wanted to speak up and I wanted to be an advocate. So, and I wanted to learn. But my freshly having seizures self, so 9 and then 13, because those were very different experiences. I would say same thing, like don't be afraid to stick up for yourself in different spaces. In school, you're not less intelligent now because you're performing differently. It's just you need a different way to do it. You're not the same as you were before, and that's okay. You just have to find a new way. It doesn't mean you're any less than you were before. You put, especially in like certain, I was in a very high a place that put like high academic performance was like very important where I grew up. And so all of a sudden I wasn't performing academically. It's like, oh, your worth just went down. It's like, well, it's like, you're still intelligent like you used to be. You just got to do it differently now. Like, don't let your worth go down because of this. And that's hard with epilepsy. So many things change. And I feel like your self-worth is struggling.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like everyone just straight in the toilet.
You're like, all my friends have independence. I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a loser now. And like all these things, you're like self-worth. It's like, no, you're so strong because you go through all these things. And like, that's pretty high on self-worth. Like, that's pretty cool. And now these things you used to be able to do, you just got to find a way to do them differently and tell people that you have to do them differently. And then you'll do better.
Yeah. And I think that leads into too, like the self-worth thing. Once you start talking about it and communicating it to people, it all of a sudden becomes less scary to yourself too.
Yes.
And less of a burden.
Yeah.
You know? And then question number 3.
Okay.
What does it mean to you to be a friend?
I think it means to offer support and how they need it. Because, you know, sometimes they're coming to you for advice. Sometimes you don't give that. Sometimes don't give unsolicited advice. Be the shoulder that they just want, or they want to rant, an angry rant or an emotional rant, or they just want to shoulder cry. And I think you just need to be support. You know, that's what I keep saying. My best friend, she knows how to support me. Sometimes I just want to rant about how frustrated I am with my epilepsy, how I feel so hopeless with it, helpless, and she just listens. You know, she doesn't give me advice like, oh, well, have you tried this thing? Like, you know, she just listens. Or sometimes like, you know, or you learn how to adapt and adjust to what they need. She knows not to talk about my memories. Like, to me, you know, and I read that in her, the things, how somebody needs support and when they need it. You know, they don't always want advice, or they don't always, you know, you have to adjust to them and know what they need. And I think that takes trust and love and listening. You know, you listen and you watch, you observe, see what they respond to. And, you know, she didn't learn overnight that like her talking about how we acted as people was what I liked, because I didn't even know that, you know, like it's about listening to people and observing people and, you know, being there for them, showing up for them.
In the way that they're asking you to, even if they're not actually asking you. Yeah. It's figuring that out. Wow, that's beautiful. God, I'm not surprised, Mia. I feel like everything you say could be like a quote on a pillow or something. Like 100%. I really appreciate you sitting down and talking with me and sharing your story. And the work that you do in the community is huge. And you are such an inspiration, such a light to so many of us. So thank you. You're so sweet. I want to say it all back to you, and then it's gonna sound fake. Like, it's gonna sound like a fake compliment. Just because I'm gonna be like, well, you too, and you too. But it's true. I believe in ditto. Ditto works, you know. Ditto, Landis. Yeah, it's a very millennial phrase, but it is. Thanks, man. You're the best. Thank you for having me again. Oh, heart back at you.